Just a quick one before we get into this video. Some of you may have watched this yesterday. So I was out at dinner and I started getting messages from you guys being like, what's going on with the end of this video? And then I was like, what is going on with the end of this video? And then I went and watched and I couldn't stop laughing. Basically, I don't know what's going on with my computer because in the version I exported, it wasn't in there. But in the version that my computer exported, not the one I edited, there's me trying to make a thumbnail at the end. So if you saw that and you were like, what is this? That's what that was. But anyway, I thought I'd re-upload it, take that out. Enjoy this video. Hey everyone, how are you all doing? We've got a lot to go through today. I thought we could talk about, you know, the whole made in China situation. Do we think that is going to stick? Or do we think a little bit like Dior, a lot of people will forget it, move on and carry on buying? Do we think there's going to be an influx of fakes off the back of this going into the pre-loved market? So we're going to talk about all of that. This chain is getting loud. Let's move it. I did a video a couple of weeks ago where I was talking about, you know, the whole made in China thing. And I just spoke about my opinions on it. So my situation was, I initially saw all of these TikTok videos that came out from these factories claiming that they make the bags for Hermes, for Chanel, for Dior, etc. And I wasn't shocked. I don't even know that I was angry because I just wasn't shocked. I was like rolling my eyes like, yeah, I can believe it. But not of all brands. There were some brands, there are some very big claims being made. In my opinion, you will have your opinion. But my opinion is that I don't believe everything I see. I believe there are elements of truth in it, but there's also a lot of fabrication going on. And so my personal thoughts are that, sure, there are certain brands that manufacture either the whole product or bits of it in China or anywhere else outside of Europe. Without doubt, I know that Prada, and I think Miu Miu, and definitely Balenciaga, they're brands that are kind of like quite open about it. And I think as long as you're open about it, it doesn't shock people, you know? If someone wants to buy a Prada bag and they know it's made in China, that's on them. Does the fact it's made in China cheapen the product at all? I don't know, that's up for discussion. Seems a bit unfair on China, doesn't it? But it's up for discussion. But I personally don't believe that Hermes make in China. I don't believe Chanel do either, to be honest. I can believe they manufacture in other places outside of France. I could be really wrong, but Hermes, nah. I don't believe it, and I don't believe it because so many of these videos we're seeing are from people in factories in China blatantly using this as an excuse to sell fakes. Like they make a dupe of a Birkin and they're trying to tell all of us that somehow that bag is real on some level and they want us to go and buy it. They don't want cheap money. Like one guy I saw wanted $3,000 US for a fake Birkin. $3,000 for a fake bag is so much money. But some people are like believing that it's real. And that leads me to my next thing, which is, do we think that this whole blow up is going to cause a peak in fake goods being sold on the pre-loved market? Let me explain my thoughts behind this. So you're going to have people that buy these fakes that believe they're somehow real. And I'm seeing people buy stuff and they're being given actual receipts, but not real receipts, like counterfeit receipts for bags they're buying. It's scary. You imagine you go on Vestiaire Collective or on any pre-loved site and you spend real money on a bag. So that person spent $3,000. You've just spent 10 thinking it's real, only to find in a few years when you decide to sell it that potentially the person who buys it from you goes, hang on, this is fake, sorry, we're not going to take it from you. I think that this could be a real problem, and it's actually made me quite nervous about buying, particularly from Vestiaire Collective recently, just because you hear that things do slip through the net there. The only way you really know now if you're getting the real thing is if you buy it from the shop. And this is the thing making me so nervous about buying pre-loved. It's not that I won't buy pre-loved, but I definitely have my favourite places that I will go to because I trust them over other places. So anyway, do we think there could be a flood of fakes into the market that go unnoticed, that get sold to unsuspecting buyers who pay real money? The next thing is with designer goods, particularly bags, I want to say, obviously they're not cheap, they're expensive. And I always think with bags, in particular, I have bought bags before that have not held their money, but I haven't cared because I've loved them, you know, etc. But when I buy a bag, for the most part, I like to think, if I need to get my money back out, what are my chances? Does that bag hold money? Does it appreciate in money, you know, year on year as price rises happen, etc.? Do I, you know, if anything happened, am I safe, you know? And I think the problem when you're spending £3,000 on a fake is your money is not safe because you've bought a fake. And I think with the best will in the world and whatever these people tell us, why, if you had the contract for Hermes, let's say, why would you blow your cover, lose that gig, just to sell a few 3K bags? Why would you do that? There's holes in these stories, you know, as far as I'm concerned. But again, you might disagree. This is just my opinion. I've also seen a lot of comments under videos from people that claim to work for Hermes, that have been to the factories in France where they are manufactured. The final kind of thought on this, do we think, now obviously the luxury brands have not come out and made statements, which I think is a really big mistake. I think that they are hoping this will go away. And of course in time it will. But I think they've made a big mistake by not coming out with statements defending themselves and saying this isn't true. And I don't know why they haven't. And you could argue, well, they haven't because it's true. Again, up for discussion. But do we think in time, a bit like the Dior scandal, that will all blow over, people will move on, people will, not everyone, but a lot of people will forget about it and they'll carry on buying the real thing? Do we think that's going to happen? Now, what's also coincided that I have noticed with these sketchy videos on TikTok, and I don't know how many else, let me know if you're getting the same thing. I've been getting loads of unsolicited DMs from accounts that look like they've been hacked because they've got like a real name, a profile picture, and they've got like pictures of them with their kids and stuff, but it's like a Chinese factory trying to sell fake stuff to me. And I'm like, oh, I feel like you've hacked someone's account here because like that doesn't stack up. And I'm getting emails as well now are saying, we're a factory in China, we can make whatever bag you want, let us know. But you know who else is getting it? My friend Phil Green. He doesn't even do fashion on Instagram. He does comedy, sketch shows, etc. He sent me a screenshot literally last week, and he's getting the same messages now. And then, a friend of mine who, her Instagram is private. She doesn't even really post to it that much, you know, but she's got a private account. She got one as well. Like so she showed me on her Instagram that if you get a message from because I was asking her about this, she said that if you get a message from someone that you're not following, you're not a friend with, it goes into like a folder within Instagram that's separate to the DMs you get from people you know. She said, I got this message, and she said I was really confused because like it came up on my phone, you've got a message from this person. She's like, she literally has about 100 people follow her, like not a lot. She looked at this message and it was written the same way, like, we're a factory in China and we can make you a fake bag. So they're just my thoughts, but let me know what you think. I would love to get your feedback on this, and I appreciate there's going to be opinions on every side of the fence. People that believe the TikTok videos, people that don't, and people like me who are somewhere in the middle where you're like, you know, I believe that some brands are definitely shady and do this, but I think they're swinging the lead a little bit, and they're, you know, maybe extending the truth. But I would love to know what you actually think as well about whether you've been made nervous about buying pre-loved, whether you think there's going to be an influx of fakes on pre-loved websites. Maybe you own a pre-loved website and you're watching this and you've got a private account. Feel free to, I would love to hear from you. If you're like, yeah, we're getting worried, or no, we're not because we've got our processes. Or maybe you've already had some sent to you and you've rejected them. I would just love to hear all of it. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next video.